Before we start this video, make sure to like this video. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This story took place in 1976 and is based on a true event. In a small town in Arizona, nestled deep in the woods, a series of gruesome murders have been taking place at night. The victims were all men, found brutally mutilated in their beds with no signs of forced entry or struggle. The town was in a state of panic, and the police were baffled by the lack of evidence. As the body count continued to rise, a disturbing rumor began to circulate. Some of the townspeople claimed to have seen a blonde dwarf girl horror doll wandering the streets at night, dressed in a blue costume like something out of a circus. At first, the police dismissed the rumors as mere superstition, but as the murders continued unabated, they began to investigate the claims more seriously. They scoured the town for any clues, and eventually stumbled upon an abandoned house. Inside the house, they found a dusty old dwarf toy placed on a chair. Inside the house, they found a collection of antique dolls. The doll was dressed in a blue circus costume, with a wide grin painted on her face and eyes that seemed to follow the officers around the room. As they examined the doll, they felt a chill run down their spines. There was something malevolent about her, something that made their skin crawl. And then, as if on cue, they heard a soft cackle coming from the darkness of the house. They drew their weapons and cautiously made their way towards the sound. As they approached, the cackle grew louder, and they could hear the sound of tiny footsteps running away from them. With their hearts pounding in their chests, they chased the sound into the back of the house, where they found themselves face to face with the blonde dwarf girl horror doll. She was perched on a shelf, grinning at them with malice in her painted eyes. The police officers took her to the police station, still in disbelief that a doll could be responsible for such heinous crimes. They decided to lock her up until they could figure out what to do with her. That night, however, the station was hit by a massive power outage. The officers on duty were left in complete darkness, with only the faint glow of their flashlights to guide them. As they were fumbling around for backup generators, they heard a low cackle coming from the room. At first, they assumed it was just their imaginations, but as the cackle grew louder, they realized with horror that the blonde girl had somehow escaped from her confinement. They searched the station frantically, but could find no sign of the doll. Each time they would hear the sound of tiny footsteps in the darkness, followed by a blood-curdling scream, and when they would finally find the victim, they would be faced with the same grisly scene as before. A man mutilated beyond recognition, with the same eerie smile etched on his face. It wasn't long before the entire town was consumed by fear. People stopped leaving their homes at night, and the police were at a loss as to how to stop the killing spree. They found out she used to work inside the circus. She was seeking revenge on the men who had wronged her in life. The blonde lady doll was never found back,